I love that piece of music, and that was one of your earliest songs. But during 84, 85, we wrote quite a few songs together, I remember.
We did.
I loved it. They were always quite spontaneous. We'd just be somewhere and start playing the guitars and singing.
Yeah.
And I must tell you this. We went to, I wasn't going to tell you this story, but it's come up now. We went to this very high-powered Anglican meeting. It wasn't a church meeting, it was the directors of social services within Anglican diocese.
Was that in Birmingham?
It was in Birmingham.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And we had to borrow our bus fare to get there. And Alan was his usual trendy self, except for his big black pit boots that he had on at the time. And we went into this meeting, and all I remember is you beginning to twitch. And I thought, oh my goodness me, what's going to happen? I'm trying to win my reputation back with the church. And Alan's saying, is there a piano anywhere? And I said, I hope not. And he said, there must be a piano somewhere. And I said, I hope there isn't. And the next minute is, he's off his feet. They're in the middle of some sort of serious conversation. And he gets up and starts playing the piano. And I thought, that's it, I'm finished. I've had it. And then all these blokes are crying. Seriously, all these guys are crying because he's singing the song he just made up, but just a song of worship and of seeking God. And these were men of God, the guys there who were trying to serve God in very difficult circumstances. But that's an aside anyway. My favourite song that we wrote was How Shall We Sing the Lord's Song in the Strange Land? It had the refrain, Come Away My Love, that you used to sing. What did that mean for you?
I suppose basically it was a hunger after God, but I don't think I could have verbalised it that simply at the time. It's just something, you find words to kind of try and express things. Obviously it's a phrase from Song of Solomon, and it was just that hunger after God, which I think we all felt, we all shared. Again, regardless of what particular title we might have or stream we came from, and that it was a common theme. And I suppose all that I'd done was I'd perhaps been able to verbalise what that theme was. You had a phrase once, is to bring coherence to the things that we were feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that song was an example of that we were all feeling like, God, we want to really know you, how to live, how can we live your way, and that's how it was expressed, I think, in that song. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Now, because I know you, I know that that's how you feel about it personally, but there was something else happening to us as well in terms of how do you sing the Lord's Song in a Strange Land also meant for us. How do we live? What type of human beings are we going to be? And we were aware that there was massive changes going on in Western society.
Okay.
We were aware back then in the early 70s and 80s that we were moving into a post-Christian society, and you became really interested in what was happening in Eastern Europe, and this is before the fall of the wall. And it was the beginning of that resistance movement, wasn't it? Solidarity.
Yeah, I suppose, I think I'd always kind of been kind of inspired, I suppose, by aspects of Eastern and Central European cultures and some aspects of Russian history even, and just that thing of resistance. I know there was a lot of bad stuff and all that, but it just seemed to be something, a spirit of resistance that just says, no, we're not going to be controlled, we're not going to be, despite outward appearances, there was always streams of resistance, and I suppose Poland was a classic case, wasn't it? The emergence of solidarity and all the things that they did, that they just would not lie down, and they stood and confronted the power that was called communism, and I suppose I admired that kind of courage, because I suppose in part, I'm not sure that I'd have had it, and that's a big thing, an enormous thing to do, but somehow I always felt more encouraged by some aspects of those cultures than the place that I'd grown up in even. Does that make sense?
Remember, we used to talk about in the West, we do shadow boxing, we don't really know where it is we're resisting or fighting, because we've got this American Europe place where, what is it that we're meant to be fighting? What is it we're meant to be standing up for? Where it seemed more clear in Eastern Europe at the time that people were being squashed, and there was folks standing up saying, we don't want to live like this anymore. But I think the big thing for us, I need to say that because this is really important, what we realised was we weren't shadow boxing in the West. We actually needed to stand up against the type of Christianity, against the type of way of living as human beings that was dehumanising, against certain foreign policies from America and from Europe that were dehumanising. And we were looking for ways to say, how are we going to stand up? How are we going to resist? How are we going to sing the Lord's song in a strange land? In the same way that our brothers and sisters in the East were trying to stand up towards communism. They had communism, we had secularism. I think that's fair, isn't it? That was coming out in our music.
Yeah, okay, well back to the song, the question you asked me, what come away like my love, what does that mean? Because for me at the time, and I'm sure others felt the same, that the only reference point that I could see really that had any meaning to make sense of these things was Jesus himself.
Yeah.
And it was that, again, it's back to that hunger for what does it mean? What does it mean, Lord? What does it mean, Lord? And that call to come away is just, I want to be where he is,
Yeah.
but not in a sense of, let's all hide away. And
It's not running away, it's come away, it's a different thing.
yeah, absolutely, because I'm not talking about us being shipped off into some place all of a sudden and avoid all the problems.
Yeah.
I don't think that at all. We didn't then. But no, how do we stand in the middle of this with the beauty that we see in you?
Yes.
And that's the Lord. Yeah.
I think it's important as well that we weren't coming away to protest. And this is important. New monasticism in Europe is not a protest movement in the sense of we're seeing political injustice or whatever. It's really a response to an earthquake in the psyche where things are changing dramatically in Western consciousness. And we were responding and saying to the Lord, how then do you want us to live? What kind of people do you want us to be? We want to be like you, but that's got to be incarnate in the real world that we live in. And out of that response then may come protest, may come trust, but it didn't come first, did it? We weren't protesters in that sense.
No, not at all. I mean, I've grown up through the 60s, which was a time of protest. And for me, that time particularly was just so full of negatives. This isn't about protest. It's about the complete opposite, isn't it? It's about life. It's about affirming life. That come to mind was the Jewish phrase l'chaim, and we were wanting how to live, but not just live in the sense of how do we all
negative response to everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to know what it is to live.
Yeah. We did a little magazine at that time called Heart Cry. Yeah. We got one out and it was hand done. We'll just go with that for a minute and just give you some idea what it looked like.